No, it was hard for me. I felt like investing was for rich people, not for me. I didn't know anyone who, was an investor or anyone that I could ask about it. And then finally one day, like, a lady at work was like, "What do you mean you're not on the 401k? You should be getting the match." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I actually need to." And so, yeah, 4% match, missed that for 2.5 years.
Okay. Well, I mean, it does suck, but your income was pretty low back then, so at least it's not as bad, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, the tiny bit of a silver lining, but okay. And I guess for people that maybe they have access to like the 401k with their corporate job, how much should they be putting in, and how do you determine that with a matching and all that?
So it's pretty obvious that the match is important to get. That's part of your salary package. So you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of the match. And most financial advisors that you go to will say, like, make sure that you're saving 10 to 15%. That just is not an exciting goal to me. I'm like, I don't even get out of bed for less than 30. So like, in America, we're so lucky. A lot of people make good incomes. I think that like being able to save 30% is a good goal for people, even if they aren't like trying to achieve fire, just to have a goal to shoot for.
Yeah. And it gets a little fuzzy sometimes and more confusing with the matching. I know some of the companies that I worked for, they would match like 50% up to 3%. So that means I would need to put in 6% to get the full match. So they could make it slightly more complicated. But I would say I mean, I know I asked you the question, but I have an answer. I was like, you max it out. Like this year, I think it's like 19.5, right? So for
Yeah.
2020, it's 19.5. It adjusts every now and then. So it's usually just under 20,000 bucks. So just max it out if you have the ability to. And then, the other side of the coin, which I mean, we actually did exactly what you're talking about, Roxanne. So at some point, I stopped putting money into my 401k because I was like, well, I have to wait longer to get to it. Yeah, there's ways to get to it ahead of time, but I was like, I'd rather just put it in taxable funds, taxable accounts so I can get to those funds whenever I want. So now, I mean, I don't even do it. And actually, this year I started for my company, my solo 401k. So now I could put in the 19.5 and match it as my own employer. So whenever you get to that point, you could do that too. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Hashtag goals.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it's a weird. I was like, I need to save some money on taxes here. So I could match up to, I don't remember. I think it's like 35 that I could put in there, some 34.9. I don't remember. So
Yeah. What really kind of changed our mindset about it, because we had been maxing out 401ks and IRAs. But then we learned about required minimum distributions, RMDs, and realized that that would really affect our tax strategy for retirement. If we're happy living on 40,000 per year, we don't need to be withdrawing 100,000. If for some reason we save too much in our retirement and have to withdraw a huge amount, like that's going to be a lot more taxes than what I factored. So something to think about there.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I didn't even, I'm glad you brought up that point because I forgot about it and it would have been a problem because, again, it seems like a weird problem, but if you start maxing out your 401k when you're like 23 and then you accumulate a lot of money, right? You have to take out a shitload of money every year. And like, it's more, I mean, that's why you would need a financial planner to help you figure out how to get your money out of there. So, very strange problem, but a good one to have. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, are there any other things on your mind? Anything I didn't ask you that I should ask you?
Um, I don't think so. So I did have a question for you. I was wondering, does your family follow your YouTube channel? Like, are they subscribers?
I don't think so. I think my parents may see because I have it sort of automated to like pop up on Facebook that I put out a new video. So I think some of them like go, in their feed so they would see it, but I don't think they've really watched any in the sheer volume of videos that I put out. Like it's definitely just noise now. So I don't think so. And then I have two sisters, and I don't think they really follow. I think they're aware that I do some stuff, but yeah, actually, I haven't really chatted with them on Fi or anything like that. Did you have another question? Because I was going to ask you some stuff too, like
Oh,
on that same note.
no, I was just wondering. My brother, one of my brothers just recently, so I have three little brothers. One of them just recently followed, and I was like, oh, that's a little hurtful. Like, if your own family is like, well, let's see how this goes.
That's funny. Well, and I'm curious. So you have younger brothers. So are you trying? Have they come to you for financial advice? Have you tried to push your advice on them, which obviously doesn't work? I've never really chatted with my family about it, but I'm kind of like, hey, I want to make sure that like they know that they're doing the right things, But it's better if they come to you. So what is going on with your family?
Yeah, so I definitely pushed a lot of financial advice on them unwillingly. I don't know, something about being like the big sister. I'm just like, oh yeah, you need to know this. You need to be doing what I say you should be doing. But yeah, actually, my youngest brother was one of my first clients. Like he got a good job right out of school and had questions about like setting up retirement accounts. So he did come to me for help at one point. But yeah, I'm very pushy about it with my family. Like, oh, because like, you want your family to get to experience the security and the joy of like getting to be free with your money. So some of each.
Do you do Roth IRAs, and did you give your brother advice to do Roth?
Yep, Roth IRAs. Oh my gosh, Doug, we have so many accounts. I am just an account whore, I guess, because we have Roth and traditional 401ks, we have Roth and traditional IRAs, a bunch of like we use Vanguard, but then we have a bunch of other taxable brokerages. So you get like the sign up bonus, so that is fun. And then I wanted to like learn about the different apps so that way, if my clients had questions, I'd be knowledgeable on how to use them.
Okay, that sort of makes sense too. And what's the cutoff for the Roth IRA income level? And I mention that because that was good advice that I got from my old planner, which I shouldn't have taken any of his other advice, but he was like, at some point you're going to make too much money, you won't be able to contribute, which eventually came true. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to make. What's the cutoff currently?
I don't actually remember the cutoff. We just hit the point where like the income was high enough where we could put the money in, but we couldn't get the deduction. So I'm not. Ask me that in a year, and I'll have an answer.
Well, I think it's like if your income is like 130 or higher, something like that. And I'm not sure what it is, but at the time when I started my Roth, I was like, there's no way I'm going to make 100 and whatever. And then eventually you do, and then you're like, well, I'm glad I put some in. It is, again, like all strange problems to have, but yeah, if people don't have their Roth IRAs yet, they should, if you have the ability to. So
Yeah, I think that's a great way to get started. That was my husband's first investment was Roth IRA. And he started those young too, because I think that was one of the suggestions from his accountant was to do or no, he started with traditional IRA. I apologize. But yeah, I tend to lean towards Roth as much as you can just because of the tax-free growth, right?
yep, you pay taxes ahead of time, and then, yeah.